Hello, this is Cecil Sunk here from Hotkeyit.com, and in this video we're going to go over various openings that you can do in TVP or PvT to ensure that you have a proper opening depending on what the Terran does in the early game so that you don't fall behind in the mid game. So diving straight into this replay, you should always have Pylon on 9, Chrono Boost once, Chrono Boost twice, Gateway. And then after you lay your gateway, you can send a scout probe. Just like so. After that scout probe, you have an assimilator. After the assimilator, you have a pylon. Then when the gateway finishes, you should have a cyber core. Your assimilator should finish before you lay your cyber core. And you should be constructing a zealot if you don't know, like if you have no scouting info, you should construct a zealot. However, I see here, supply depot, and a barracks. Usually, when there's two supply depots like this, the Terran will not have a Vespene geyser. That's not a 100% sign. It's just, most commonly, they won't have a geyser if they do a wall-off like this. And slightly lower leagues than where I'm at on ladder, oftentimes a full wall-off like this could mean a 1-1-1 on all-in. So you need to be aware of that as well. So with this scouting info, not really seeing anything except these three buildings, I'm going to skip the stalker, and I'm going to skip the zealot and then just go straight for a stalker. Oftentimes what you'll see players do is they'll order the zealot, but they won't let it finish. That way when the SCV comes up the ramp, to see he's making a Triforce. I didn't know that. Noticed that when I played. That way when he comes up the ramp and sees that you're constructing a zealot, he's less likely to make an engineering bay. Because when an engineering bay is built, it delays your nexus by quite a bit. So, here we go, chrono boosting out both a stalker and warp gate research right when that finishes. And I see him constructing a engineering bay, which is smart because I did not have a zealot to kill it. What I'm going to do in response is just a 3-gate expand, which you could do in any map without a very narrow choke. Cloud Kingdom is one of the worst ones because of the very narrow choke at the net. This one is pretty open, however. There's easy access to the ramp as well for instance. So it's smart to kill the SCV as fast as you can so that its HP is low. I recommend always getting a second stalker after your first one. Usually you'll have a nexus first and then a second stalker. However, I ordered the stalker early so that my money didn't float due to the engineering bay. Second stalker is to kill any scouting SCVs. Optionally, besides a stalker, you can also get a sentry. Oftentimes I'll see a sentry sitting down here on players' streams, like the featured Team Liquid player list. And then when an SCV runs by, they force field the ramp just to make sure that it doesn't get up here to get a gateway count or see what tech you have. However, I like a stalker more. So now I'm doing a 3-gate expand. With a 3-gate expand, be sure to have a proxy pylon down before your warp gate will finish. You can see it's going to finish just about as warp gate is done. And you want your gateways to be down when your warp gate research is about halfway. That way they can finish before your warp gate finishes and you can have a timely attack. Gateway's finished, morphing, and you warp in stalkers. Optionally, you can warp in sentries. Sentries first will give them a little more time to gather energy. However, I didn't want to do that as I wanted to have my units up here. And if I had sentries just sitting up here, any marines that come down can just kill the sentries really easily. So I got BPR stalkers instead because I wanted to sit in this location. That way I could use my stalkers to poke around these sides. If he's trying to put a bunker here, you can actually have your stalker sit and kill the bunker out of range of these marines. So, excuse me, what these early stalkers here do, instead of getting sentries first, is prevent any more bunkers from going down in the front. Any additional bunkers he's going to place have to be out of position in the back. And he tries to do a surround, although I kind of just squeezed back, only lose one stalker, killed like 2 or 3 marines, damaged a bunch of them. That was an efficient trade for me. So here's what I'm talking about, or here's what I was talking about. these bunkers. I can prevent both of these from going down. Back at home, planted a nexus after I warped in 3 stalkers. And I'm going to be chronoing out quite a bit of probes. You want this many, 2 full rows on your natural, and you can go ahead and just rally both your nexuses to your nat. And what this pressure does is it forces a lot of SCVs to come off of the mineral line in a moment, while I build up my probes. Deny a bunker. Kill a bunker. Suddenly, I'm up by almost 10 SCVs, or 10 workers. Now I'm up by over 10 workers, and that means I've had a very successful early game. And I did this mostly to reaction to the engineering bay. But again, you only want to do this on maps that have a pretty wide open natural. Here's a replay where the Terran decides to do some sort of one-base cheese with Hellion drops and Marines. And what he does in order to hide it is he places a bunker here and tries to fake a 1 racks fast expand. So, not having any scouting info in the early game, I scouted the incorrect base. Up here, my scouting gets denied again. You do the same opening last game, except this time I ordered the Zealot, because I do not want to have an engineering bay block. Go ahead and hide your probe down here after you order your Zealot. This way, the scouting SCV can't see your probe, and you can sneak out and place the nexus very quickly when you have 400 minerals. Here's where my probe was denied. I placed a pylon. I'm going to cancel that. It's just some little shenanigans. Chase the SCV out with your Zealot. And now here's where you chrono the work rate research and your first stalker. Nexus, and then another unit. This time I opted for a sentry. You want to be at 26 out of 26 supply right at this moment. Your next pylon has to be placed carefully. You want to be able to warp in on the low ground in case there's like a 2 racks or something. That way you can immediately get units from your warp-ins into the battle and defend your natural properly. So, good places for a pylon are here, on top of the high ground here. Worst place is here, as it can just get sniped. And you can see in this game, I got 3 gateways right after the nexus, and I'm going to get a fast robo, since I have so little scouting info. And here's where I get no scouting info. My scouting is denied because he has 5 marines, and I just can't get by in order to see if there's a orbital command sitting there. Chase this SCV with the sentry. Make sure it doesn't get up into your base. Place that robo down very quickly. Also, make sure you get your second gas, so that way you can support production off of these 3 facilities. Then once the nexus finishes, chrono to your heart's content. You want a couple observers out of your gateway so you can see what the heck is going on. I ended up seeing the medevac, and I ended up reacting properly, having stalkers on my main, stalkers at my nat, and so on. In a moment, I'm going to have a lot more probes than my opponent. He has quite a few SCVs because he's been just producing off of 1 base, whereas if he had expanded, he would have had to cut for a little while in order to get everything out. And there you have it. A strong opening with very little scouting info. Observers are going to be able to spot for things like drops and cloak sheaths. Here's the final replay, which features a Nexus before Cybercore opening. And the reason I did this is because I had very clear scouting info of racks right here and no gas. Same opening at the beginning, pylon, gateway, chrono, then gateway, assimilator, and scouting info right here. I see the gateway, no gas, so instead of placing down the cybercore right at 150 minerals, what you do instead is you come down here, hide the probe so that he can't see it with his SCV, and I'm faking the ordering of a zealot, and then place the nexus right at 400 minerals. Optionally, you can also pull probes off of S-beam, I do this right when I order, or right when I have about 100 Vespene. That way I can order a Stalker, Warpgate Research right when my Cybercore finishes. This way I have full saturation on my minerals so that I can get down the Cybercore, Gateway, all these mineral heavy things. More probes, an additional pylon. Now I order my Zealot, continue probe production. This is a good pylon placement. It lets me warp in right in the battle in the event of a 2 racks or some sort of early aggression. Now after I order these 2 things, I'm low on Vespene again, so I transfer guys back onto my Vespene. After I get all these mineral heavy things, probe transfer. And now that my Nexuses have finished, it's time to chrono them. And my Warp Gate's going to finish up shortly, and following it up with a Robo, second Geyser. And this is the exact position that you're going to want to be in if you had a solid opening. This many guys on your at your main, saturating your natural, 3 gateways, a Robo, and a good probe lead over SCV count. Again, this is good to do. You can delay the Cybercore in favor of a faster Nexus if you have good scouting info and you know what your opponent's going to do. If you have any questions, please ask me on the Hotkeyit forums, and I hope you enjoyed this video.